Well, June 1, officially the T20 World Cup begins. Yes, it's USA versus Canada, but still, a match is a match. So, at the dugout today, we are, firstly, apologies for being 6 minutes late. And we are joined by Nikhil also today discussing the big preview to the T20 World Cup. Which are the teams that will make it from each of the 4 groups. So basically the format is 4 groups, 5 teams, top 2 of each group go into the Super 8s, and then they are already pre-seeded. It's already been predetermined that who are the seeds. In Group A, India is A1, Pakistan is A2, England are B1, Australia are B2, and similarly C1, C2 is New Zealand, West Indies. D1, D2 is South Africa, Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So, we are going to each give our own as to which teams will make it from the playoffs, from the group stages into the Super 8s, Super 8s into semi-finals and the finalists and the winner with valid reasons. Clear?
Yeah, before we start, just want to check on Nikhil. Nikhil, is there a game of cricket you played or intending to play sometime later? I see you wear your kit today.
I was wondering that you'll ask me or not, but then I thought Siddharth might just finish off the show, only pick his 11 and in 10 minutes tell us, okay,
that is done. That is done.
I want to know from you guys, firstly, it's the big preview. Forget before we even reach the 11. Are you guys excited or not? Because I really am. The tournament starts from tomorrow.
Yeah.
India's practice game is today, and I think seldom does a practice game attract as much attention as an India game is. I know the tournament is going to be starting in Dallas, but all eyes are on New York simply because the biggest team of them all is in New York at the Nassau County ground. I believe it's a beautiful ground. Rohit Sharma, Rahul Dravid have had a bit of a look at that. It was raining yesterday. I saw those visuals on Sports Today. You showed off the coach and the cap. I want to know, is there rain expected today?
No rain is expected.
No. Very good. And what is your plans for today's game? Yeah, everyone wants to know, your Sports Today family.
Well, if you ask me the plans, we treat it as a very important game. You'll have a pre-match, you'll have a mid-show, and then you'll have a post-match 1 hour long. This is not a warm-up game for us.
That's a treat. That's a treat for the subscribers, because how many times does it happen a practice game gets to see all of this? So well done to Sports Today and the Sports Today team for treating it as a proper match.
Yeah, we have to. It's a once in 14-year occurrence. No, last time in 2010, India didn't play a warm-up game. Here they're playing a warm-up game.
Yeah, and see, there's an added layer of excitement to this warm-up match, albeit warm-up match. Of course, we're treating it like a proper international game. But as a matter of fact, you're seeing all these guys who are divided by franchises. Just about a couple of weeks back, be united by that one strip that they are known for to be wearing all around the year. So excited to see those guys in the Indian colors and those Indian stripes, and yeah, that's what we're looking forward to.
And not just the excitement, what I'm also looking forward to, and I'm sure that's the case with all of us here, that what is the combination that India is going to try in those 40 overs of the match.
All the opening, actually, first thing, India should win the toss or whatever it is, Bangladesh win the toss. Just you want to see who are the 2 openers. Like in the Afghanistan series, the moment the squad was named, it gave you 100 answers there.
100 questions, you mean?
No, that was 100 answers.
See, I would again say, yes, there is excitement for the game, there is everything, but do not read too much into a warm-up game. Do not, because
even when you haven't played a T20 series, really, let's forget what happened against Afghanistan. It told you whatever little that it had to mark the return of your 2 stalwarts. But I think this warm-up match, because what else? You were all playing for other franchises, different roles, different positions. Of course, today's match is going to tell you a few things.
Last proper international T20 series that you had was West Indies at the same venue.
What do you mean proper?
Play. Because you were having a T20 series.
But that time you didn't have the 2 stalwarts.
No, I'll tell you why. Australia series after the end of the World Cup, did that have any context? No. South Africa series, your stalwarts weren't there. Okay.
Stalwarts were there only in Afghanistan.
2 matches.
2 matches, 1 Virat missed.
So, so that is why this particular warm-up game also, your first major match that you all will have to look forward to is on June 5. India-Ireland. Simple. This game, yes, treat it as a good game, but it's a warm-up. Don't read too much into it. India are the kings, by the way, of warm-ups. Lost only one ever since 2014. So that's why. And fine, I'm only thanking this Indian cricket team that you're playing a warm-up game in the West Indies. Otherwise, you didn't want to play in 2010. You reached late and you were conveniently
shortly
booted
after
out.
the IPL.
Yes. That's why. That warm-up game witnessed so many things. Zimbabwe beating Australia.
Yeah, but this time also there are teams that have opted out of a warm-up match.
No, most have played. Sri Lanka
Australia, despite being undermanned, they
England
played
won't be
their
playing.
2 matches.
But England played just yesterday against
That's what I said. There are teams who opted out also, and that is on the board to decide whether you want to play or not. You make your Australia played 2 for that matter.
Yeah, despite most of the players still in the IPL.
See, so it's
Priorities.
Priorities. Yeah. But shall we then get to it?
Yes, let's get to it. Nikhil, Sri Ganesh with you.
Yeah, let's do it. So you've set the ground rules. What we did, if you're a regular viewer, you'd know what we do on Sports Today. We try and look at, or make up predictions. But as you know, we're 4 people here. All of us have a different mind and a different way how we look at cricket. So each of us is going to be coming up with a different prediction. I'm assuming it's seldom do all of us agree. But that's the beauty of Sports Today, I guess. But eventually you have to agree, because what we do here is that, we act as 4 selectors that you see on screen. Our 5th selector is always our producer, who's always behind the scenes. So he plays an important role. But if in case our votes are unanimous or tilting towards one option, then we don't go to the chairman of selectors, the 5th selector, which happens to be our producer in Shivam today. Then we end up picking one prediction based on what all of us have gone with. But in case it's a tie, 2 apiece, then the deciding vote goes to our producer in Shivam, who's on duty today. So what we'll do is we'll try and chalk out. See, now there are 4 stages. Group stage, we'll try and chop out the 8 teams that make it to Super 8s. Next, we'll try and chalk out the teams that will reach the semis. Next, we'll chalk out the team that will reach the final. And eventually, we will pick our winner. So I believe you've prepared a bit of a sheet. There it is. So it gives you an idea. That's exactly what we're looking at. We'll try and pick our Super 8s, our semi-finalist 1, semi-finalist 2, finalist, and then the winner. So that's what we're going to try and zero in on. What you're seeing on your right is, of course, the groups. That's the first stage. And I think that is what makes it interesting. So let's try and pick our teams from these groups, are 2 teams that make it through. Once we pick up these teams and how they make to the semis is something else that we'll decide, or how they course from there on goes. But initially you just have to pick 2 teams without getting into the seeding or getting into the complication of the seeding, which we'll explain as we go along. And as I see it, I think Group A could be rather easy. Group B is the easiest. Yes. I think the easiest to pick top 2 teams will be Group B, followed by Group A, which is relatively easier, followed by Group C, which is slightly tricky, and Group D, the trickiest of them all. That's my seeding of the groups. I don't know how you guys see it.
Yeah. Totally. In fact, calling it since it's a night of the Champions League final as well, and at the start of the Champions League season, when those groups are drawn, that's when you actually hear the term group of death so often in cricket. You don't get to say that often, but thanks to 20 teams, thanks to this format, you're looking at there being a group of death, which is Group D in this year's edition.
Yeah, I think for me, all groups are highly competitive. I'm not going to look at it from a perspective that, some groups are easy or some groups are tricky. Because when you look at the likes of USA, Uganda, Papua New Guinea, for that matter even Nepal also, I think they have literally fought their way to this T20 World Cup. You look at USA, they won, I think they did well in the qualifiers, and obviously
no matter how neutral you are, that Group B, there's no way you're telling me there is any upset happening in that Group B.
Anything can happen in
Group A may be an upset or 2 with Ireland there. Group C and D, I agree. Netherlands, Nepal, whoever else. Group B, are you telling me that you're not looking at that group and already writing out 2 teams?
See, why cannot a certain Scotland not qualify for the Super 8? I think it's just a case of 40 overs and anything can happen in a T20 game. We have seen Namibia beating Sri Lanka in a T20 World Cup. So yeah, anything can happen.
Okay, interesting. I hope you pick a left field selection where we go forward, and I hope you have something different from the most obvious that we pick when we pick the 2 teams. So you got to put your money where your mouth is. By the way, it's interesting. Today happens to be the exit poll day. Everyone's busy, coming out with the exit poll results. This is our exit poll with a sample size of only 5 people. All right, but I'm guessing we speak for lakhs of subscribers in terms of the picks we're going to take, because somehow or the other in the 5 of us we will represent most fans, right?
Yeah.
Very safe ones, adventurous ones, on the borderline, walking on the fence ones, because in terms of personality I think we've got it all covered within our panel. So while our sample size of our survey is not as big as some of these exit polls, but I'm guessing the representation, looking at the 5 of us, I think it should do justice as to get an idea as to who could be the winner, who could be the semi-finalist, who could be the top 2. Okay, you want to start group by group?
Yep.
Yeah, we could just go ahead pick the top 2 teams of every group.
Let's go then. Group A, who wants to start?
Group A, I'll start with the obvious: India, Pakistan.
A1, A2.
A1, A2.
Okay, mine is also India, Pakistan.
Yeah, there's no question about there being any
After
other
all
team.
the build-ups that you've...
I will come to that in the remaining groups, and that's what I've been thinking. Yes, I'm basically thinking about the matchups, and that's how I'll make my call.
Okay.
So
No, I thought after that massive build-up, you'll come up with the boom.
No,
Ireland.
that
No,
build-up
the balloon
remains.
burst.
That build-up remains. No, it's not going to burst. You will see a couple of surprises.
So it's 4-zip in Group A.
Yeah.
Even you are also
You haven't
picking.
asked me.
Yeah, the three of us have gone with India, Pakistan.
India, Pakistan.
Okay.
And I don't quite think you will be adventurous in this group with your prediction.
No. I was safe to begin with. It has to be India, Pakistan.
Yeah.
But I'll ask 2 questions, and this is not part of our survey as such of picking up. So it's 4-zip. We don't need to go to the judge that is sitting in the studio. So, but my question is, you see Ireland beating any one of India or Pakistan, and who are you picking, India versus Pakistan? 2 quick points before we put in our 2 teams from Group A.
Nothing from Ireland either. I don't see them making upset this time. And India, Pakistan, it's India.
And I see.
Despite the fact Ireland is the same country, when the last time a World Cup was played, a 50-over World Cup, albeit 2007,
Yeah.
did knock Pakistan out. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they beat Pakistan in the one of T20. I think they had a series, the first one they beat.
They first one, yes, and they lost the other 2.
In fact, India also, they ran India close last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Albeit a B team.
But India had sent a
Yeah, that's what.
All
Albeit a B team, but you needed to pull everything out of your reserves, and you were caught in a precarious situation there also.
See, sometimes there is a fine line between, you may say, delusion and practicality.
But
Sid Gulati sometimes tests
Ireland know how to slay big teams in big tournaments. They've done that to England also. Let's not forget.
And the last edition, 2022, they won by 5 runs against them. Yep.
Yeah, I think in Group A, the answer to your first question is I don't see Ireland probably surprising Pakistan or in India, but I see USA giving some trouble to Pakistan. I just feel that on the current form. And the current form that USA are in, they have won 6 of their last 7 T20s, and mind you, they have beaten a certain Bangladesh also.
Which is not speaking much anyways.
Yeah. So, I think the second question was India
India or
versus
Pakistan,
Pakistan. So, yeah, India.
I'm picking India too. And yeah, safe India, Pakistan.
No,
Okay,
Ireland.
let's get done.
Ireland,
with Group A,
I don't think
and the
Ireland
teams
are
that I'm
troubling
picking to
either.
India, Pakistan, despite the challenge that Ireland and USA will pose, we've gone with that. Okay, Group B, as I said, would be the easiest to pick, and I'd be very surprised anybody picks. No matter what Gulati said, anybody picks any other team. It's England, Australia for me in that order.
Plus
B1,
one.
B2. England is the higher seed.
Make that 3.
B1, B2, England, Australia.
Yeah, +1, Harshit +2, Sid?
Yeah.
+3.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
And now he changed the
thinking.
No, it's not. There are 2 more groups remaining.
Okay.
You have to believe in me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but you were thinking, you were hesitant when, like England, Australia, you were thinking.
No, it's just the predictions that we are making here based on the top ranked nations facing off against a certain Namibia, Scotland or Oman. But on that given day, anything can happen, and that's what my neutral perspective was coming from. What I'm basically saying is that there have been certain surprises. So like I said, in Group A also, a certain USA can actually come close to beating a Pakistan team. Anything can happen on a given day. So that's what my neutral perspective is coming from.
Okay, let's get it down. England, Australia done.
Yep.
Group B, they make it into the next group.
Yes.
And then let's turn our attention to Group C, which it's a tricky group, all right, but I'm
Yes.
still not counting it as the group of death, because the group of death still remains Group D for me.
yeah.
So let's go. Group C. Who wants to start?
Group C, Sid, you start.
My 2 teams are West Indies and Afghanistan. Because of the better spinners that Afghanistan have, and if the conditions really favor them in a game against New Zealand, you have a certain Rashid Khan, Mujib, Noor, with due respect to Mitchell Santner and Ish Sodhi, I think they can really surprise a New Zealand team. Something that we saw even in the 2023 World Cup also. That they did manage to pull off those big wins against the likes of Sri Lanka and other teams. So for me,
he's
it's
left New
West
Zealand
Indies and
out.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Wow.
West Indies, Afghanistan for Sid Gulati, but for me it's straightforward. New Zealand and West Indies. See, on those slow UAE decks, it was New Zealand who got the better of Afghanistan. Same spinners, same situation. And if you look at it, they may mostly be playing Afghanistan and St. Lucia. It doesn't have much for the spinners anyway. So, see, New Zealand, West Indies for me make it. Harshad, what about you?
Same.
New Zealand, West Indies,
New
2,
Zealand, West Indies,
1.
yeah.
Nikhil, it's 2-1.
Oh, that's interesting. So Siddharth's living up to his, pre-chat.
I did have a look
disclaimer.
at the matchups in New Zealand and Afghanistan, and when you look at the New Zealand team or the probable 11,
Sure.
yeah, there's going to
Sure,
be a
no,
certain.
not debate. I'm saying he's living up to that pre-chat sort of a disclaimer he had sent that it'll be tricky. So he's gone with that. By the way, I did see a lot of other former players. Some of them have picked Afghanistan, so it doesn't come as a surprise. But I can't help but look past both West Indies, New Zealand. West Indies, host, they're in fine good form. They're doing rather well. But I'm also going with New Zealand primarily because it's an ICC tournament, and all ICC tournaments have a semi-final. And if there is a semi-final, I have to think of a New Zealand.
Yes.
Maybe we wasted time even going to Siddharth, because if it's a New Zealand team concerned, he had to have them. We should have just picked the team for him. Probably if you ask him for the winner, jump, everything else that we put, ask him directly to pick a winner. Who knows? He may pick New Zealand even now, but that's how big a fan he is of New Zealand. But yeah, I think Siddharth here gets outvoted between Afghanistan. See, all of us have picked West Indies, so they come in.
Yeah.
But Siddharth gets outvoted in terms of Afghanistan. And I agree with Siddharth's assessment that even on trickier spin-friendly pitches, New Zealand have gotten the better of Afghanistan. So I think too much quality. Glenn Phillips on top, one of the best T20 openers in the world right now. Dare I say, I might even pick him as, dream team if you're picking a T20 dream team. He's right up there. I think Kane Williamson in those kind of pitches, his contribution, gold dust, the bowling lineup that they have, all put together. So yeah, those are my 2 teams. Let's get down to the third, because I think a lot of our debates will happen when we're debating semis and super 8s and all that. This I think is easier. So let's get down to group number 4.
The group of death.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
This is a tough one. I am going slightly left field and saying Sri Lanka and Netherlands.
Oh, he's actually pulled off of me here.
Because I think, Netherlands can beat South Africa. And looking at the way how South Africa have been building up, it doesn't bode well for them. They are too distracted by the off-field issues that are there. And sure, a Klaassen, a Markram have done well in the IPL, Markram's less so. But looking at the others, Rabada struggled, coming off an injury, had to withdraw from IPL. I think this South Africa team is very, very vulnerable. So I
I'm
am
basically saying that lightning can strike thrice.
of course.
Okay.
And what is a South Africa or an ICC event without a choke? So I would expect them that the choke happens in the group stages.
Okay.
So I'm going with Sri Lanka and the Netherlands.
Okay. My choices are South Africa and Bangladesh.
Okay.
Okay, all right. I am going with South Africa, Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Oh my God! Now finally we're getting some left field selections. I am the conventional one, I guess. I'm going with the two teams that seeded the top two. So I am going with South Africa and Sri Lanka. So let's break it down in terms of the votes that we've got. South Africa has got 3 votes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yourself,
Sri
Harshit, and
Lanka have
me.
also got 3 votes.
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka, I voted.
Same.
Same. Yeah.
And Nikhil's
I'm
also
okay
gone.
with
So
3
yeah,
votes.
Yeah.
that's done.
Yeah.
3 votes. And Bangladesh and Netherlands have got a vote apiece, right?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
So which makes it South Africa, Sri Lanka then
Yes.
from our group as well.
The top
Absolutely.
2 seeded teams
Yeah.
of that group.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now that we've zeroed in on the groups that we have picked so far, can we quickly have any reasons from the two of you who put Bangladesh and Netherlands? Why?
See, I picked Netherlands primarily because they have the capacity to upset a South Africa. It happened to them in the ODI World Cup, happened to them in the T20 World Cup also. So format-wise, Netherlands do seem to have an edge over South Africa. And South Africa, they develop cold feet in ICC events. And looking at the way how the group is, because they have got the toughest group. A Bangladesh can sneak up from behind. A Netherlands are good. Sri Lanka in these conditions might do well. So I have more confidence in Sri Lanka doing well and a South Africa not doing well in the West Indies.
And my confidence in Bangladesh is primarily because of the conditions that they usually play in their home. You know, their low and slow pitches, something that we have witnessed in most of the T20 series that they play off.
But even
against
there
the
they
opposition.
struggle. Even there they struggle.
They struggle, but this is their territory, and I think this is where they beat England and Australia in a T20 series also.
No,
last year.
yeah, in
When they
2022, but you saw what happened to them in the T20 World Cup in 2021. What happened there? In similar conditions, they lost all 6.
Yeah, absolutely. But this time, I think they are, I would say, a little more prepared with the combination that they have. And that's why my pick for them, that's why I probably picked them ahead of a Sri Lanka who can be inconsistent.
Yeah. So that's...
Okay, so that's interesting. Now that we've picked our 8 teams for the Super 8, this is how the groups will be formed. And this is very interesting. If Shubham can show us on the screen, Shubham, I'll just run you through how your groups need to be made. So your group 1 on your left has to have India, Australia, New Zealand, Sri Lanka.
Yes.
India, Australia, New Zealand, Sri Lanka have to be in one group. I'll explain why that is the case.
Yeah.
So India, Australia, New Zealand,
And Sri Lanka.
yep, and Sri Lanka have to be in one group, and the other has to have Pakistan, West Indies, Sri Lanka,
No, South Africa.
and
South
England.
Africa.
Pakistan,
Sorry,
England.
Yeah, South Africa and England. Sorry.
Yeah.
England. Yeah, and instead of Sri Lanka, you have to have
Instead
South
of the
Sri Lanka.
SLSA. Yep.
Yeah, so this is how the groups will be formed. For those of you who don't know why I'm saying that this will be the group, it doesn't matter where the teams finish. If these are the teams that we have picked so far, if these are the teams that are going to be making it, this is how they will be grouped in the groups, because the group have been decided based on seeding. So India is A1, Australia is B2, New Zealand is C1, and Sri Lanka is D2, and they have to be in one group. And Pakistan is A2, England is B1, West Indies is C2,
C2,
South
and
Africa
D1.
is D1. Already, these seedings are already there.
Yes.
And they have to go in group 2. Now, the thing is that if, let's say, India finish behind Pakistan in points table, India still remain A1, and India still go to group 1 if they are in the top 2. Similarly, England is B1, Australia is B2. Even if Australia finish ahead of England in the points table, they will still be divided in the groups that you see right now. This is based on seeding. The only time these groups will change is if a team is replaced. So for example, in Group D, if Sri Lanka is D2, okay, and that is why they've gone in Group 1. But let's say Bangladesh is to replace Sri Lanka, then Bangladesh automatically becomes a D2, and then Bangladesh goes in place of Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Even if Bangladesh finish top of the table, they will still be D2 and replace Sri Lanka. So any team that's a non-seeded team that comes in and replaces a seeded team, doesn't matter where they finish, they'll come in. So I hope that makes it clear for those of you who are joining us, why the groups will be divided like that. So if the 8 teams that we have picked qualify, then this is how the 2 groups will look like in Super 8s. One other thing that I want to point out, which is very important because there's a lot of misinformation happening on media right now. Because the last time that 50 over World Cup happened in West Indies, where Super 6s, you carried forward the points from the previous stage. In the first group, if you had points, you carry forward. This time, there's no carry forward of points. So once you qualify into the next Super 8s, you start from 0-0 again.
Correct.
No points, you're reaching there, you play. Why the carry forward is not there? The carry forward was there earlier because you played the same team once again in Super 6, which you played in the group stages. You played them again. That's why you carry forward. This time, the groups are made like this, Group 1 and 2, that you will see that when you play other teams in your group, those are the teams that you have not played earlier. You have not played them in the first round. So India will play Australia, they haven't played them in the first round. India will play New Zealand, they haven't played them in the first round. India will play Sri Lanka, they haven't played him. Ditto for Group B. So no carry forward of point, you start with 0 points. And now, based on your performance here, you will then be the semi-finalist. How that semi-final will be based on where you finish. So if you finish top of Group 1 at the end, after playing your 3 matches, most points, top of Group 1 if you finish, then you'll play second of Group 2. If you finish top of Group 2, you'll play second of Group 1. That's very simple. And those are the predictions that we will have. So how we will do it is, let's pick our top 2 of Group A, Group 1 in that order. Who are you putting 1? Who are you putting 2? And same for Group 2. Then we will figure out our semi-finalists. Does that sound good?
Yes,
absolutely.
So
okay. So I know that some of your predictions are not there, because you may have picked a Bangladesh or Netherlands, they haven't made Super 8. So you'll have to reconfigure your selection based on what everyone has picked. So quickly, let's get our teams there. Who have you got?
from Group 1, my top 2 are India, Australia.
Okay.
In which order?
India, Australia 1, India 2.
Okay.
For me,
Harshit?
I think it'll be India, New Zealand. Oh, Australia, New Zealand.
okay.
No, India. Okay, in which order?
Australia 1, New Zealand 2.
Okay.
Gulati.
Yeah, for me it is Australia 1 and India 2.
Oh, so, okay, I've also picked Australia 1. So can we write Australia's, name as semi-finalist 1?
Yeah.
So in semi-final 1, you can have Australia, because we picked them 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We picked them 1. We'll get to the 2. So my 2 there is India. Who else has picked India as 2?
Me and Sid.
Sid B and Sid G.
Okay, so I think 3-1 again.
Yep.
I think India makes it as the second team.
Yes.
So semi-final 2, India will be the second name. So right, versus ahead of India, so that we write the team that finishes first on points table, right?
Group 2, yeah.
So this is the team that we have got. Okay, Group 2, your predictions. But firstly, I just want to give you my reasons of why I picked 1 and 2. Maybe if some of you want to, you could. And the reason I've picked India on that spot, I'm just looking at India's matches. So India plays
New Zealand, Sri
the
Lanka
first
and
game.
Australia.
Yeah, no, I've got it. So India plays first game versus New Zealand in Barbados.
Yep.
Whatever I know of Barbados, it's a middling sort of a venue where you don't get very low scoring games, but you don't get very high scoring games either. And this is, I'm going by the recent record. So you're not getting 200 plus game, but you're not getting 150, 60. So 170-ish sort of a ground. On certain occasions 190, certain occasions less. That sort of a ground, I think New Zealand will enjoy a lot too. So India are playing New Zealand on a ground that is also very much like New Zealand's strength. But I think that's also India's strength. So two strengths combining man to man. I'm giving India a slight edge, and it's a very, very close edge, but a slight edge. But I think it's going to be a humdinger of a contest. India, New Zealand, Barbados may just decide which is the second team, because I've even given India 51-49 chance. That's why I've picked, India winning that game. India's next game is against Sri Lanka and Antigua. Again, probably the worst place to play Sri Lanka, because it's going to be the slowest out of the three pitches that India play. Sometime you get about 130, 140 sort of a scenario there. Low scoring ground, 150 sometime has been good there. Low scoring ground helps spinners, and you don't want to play Sri Lanka there, but unfortunately for India, they are playing Sri Lanka in Antigua. Again, not a great ground, but I still man to man think India is slightly better than Sri Lanka. So I'm giving India a 60-40 edge. So I think India wins that. India versus Australia is going to be in St. Lucia, and that is the most batting friendly ground that you're going to have. It's going to be a big scoring game, 190, 200 sort of a thing. And I think that sort of a ground, I'll give Australia that slight edge, 55-45 in Australia's favor. And I see India losing that game, which is why I've put Australia 1, India 2. The funny thing is, in the 50 over World Cup, India played most of its oppositions on grounds that suited their strength and were against the strength of the opposition team. It just so happened, right?
Yep.
If you had a very good pace attack in the opposition, you played them in a spin-friendly track.
Yes.
When you had a very good spin-friendly attack, you played them on a very nice, juicy, hard, bouncy track. This World Cup, it's exactly the opposite. So India is playing teams, their opposition's strength are the venues that they are playing. So it would have been great if India played Sri Lanka in St. Lucia and played Australia in Antigua and New Zealand maybe in Barbados. That would have worked out very well for India, and I would have probably put India as number 1 in their group. But because it's not worked out like that, I put India 2 in that particular group.
Although India, when they played Sri Lanka at St. Lucia, they lost last time when they played. And Barbados is a venue that has never favored India. I mean, in 50 years of playing there, they won only 2 internationals, if I'm not mistaken. 2 or 3. And if you look at Antigua, first time ever they'll be playing a T20 either.
Yes.
So it's a big situation. Only South Africa and Zimbabwe are the other teams who have played there. Guess the other teams: Argentina, Belize, Panama. All of them have played at Vivian Richards ground. So it's a very odd situation.
Vivian Richards ground again hasn't hosted a lot of T20s anyway. I think just about 10 in totality.
Yeah, and only 2 established destinations: South Africa and Zimbabwe. That's it. So
Okay, next.
Group 2, West Indies 1, England 2.
Ooh. Arshit.
I'm picking England, West Indies in that order.
England 1, West Indies 2.
England 1, West Indies 2.
Yeah. Sid.
West Indies 1, South Africa 2.
South Africa.
Oh, my God. I think this one's going to be tough. Oh.
West Indies 1, South Africa 2. Yeah.
Okay, I'm picking England 1, West Indies 2.
Oh.
Okay.
So then South Africa, I'm out.
You're out.
Yeah. Because you also went with the same,
South
just the
Africa
order was
is out.
different.
Yeah.
So Nikhil, you and I have gone with the same 2, but the order has been different. Nikhil and I, in fact, in the same order.
Yeah.
Yours is
Mine is
2-1.
West Indies, England in that order. 1-2 in that sense. Yeah.
But he's also outvoted there because
There,
he's
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So England then play Australia.
England
No.
then gets 1.
England play India then in
West
the
Indies
second
2.
semi-final.
Yes.
Once again.
Right, so England top, West Indies 2 based on our consensus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you can ask Shivam, maybe he'll give us some more clarity.
Shivamji, there's Pawan also, by the way. We can turn to Pawan also if the logjam continues.
Sure. Let's hear them both.
England and West Indies.
He's gone with England, West Indies too. Pawan.
In that order.
West Indies, England.
West Indies, England.
West Indies. But who finishes
West Indies.
in that order? West Indies over England, but for Shivam, England over West Indies.
Okay.
So it's pretty much the same then.
Same.
But then we get
It's 3 to 2.
3 is to 2.
So
Yeah,
3
3 is
have
to 2.
picked England over West Indies. 2 have picked West Indies over England.
Yeah.
The surprising bit here is I'm a bit surprised that only Gulati picked South Africa. I imagine South Africa not making it. But then again, it's an ICC tournament, and there's a good chance, despite the fact that they've got Tristan Stubbs, Henrik Klaassen,
Two
Rabada,
established
and so on and
spinners
so
in
forth.
Keshav
Yeah,
Maharaj and,
South Africa might just do
yes,
South Africa
Shamsi.
things because it's an ICC tournament and miss out.
Yep. So if that is the case, the semi-finals is Australia versus West Indies, England versus India, repeat of 2022 Adelaide.
Yep.
And second semi-final being played in
Providence, Guyana.
Guyana, and
yeah.
it has 250 minutes of buffer time,
Yeah.
but no reserve day.
Reserve day. And there is a reserve day
Plus
for
it's a
semi-final
day-nighter.
one.
Yes.
It's a day-nighter.
Yeah.
Guyana is a day-nighter in the semi-final.
Yes, 27th, I believe.
Yes.
28th is a break day, not reserve day, and 29th
Saturday,
is a
which is a final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Okay, step
you wanna
further.
pick your finalists then.
Australia win
This
these.
is tough.
That's
Okay,
the
let
first
me go
one.
first. Let me
You
go
need to pick
first
one.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
my link might have an issue. I'll try and join back, but in case it can't, so I'll just
Yeah.
quickly put my finalists in. I am seeing Australia get the better of West Indies.
And?
So my one vote goes to Australia in that. And I am seeing a reverse of what happens in Adelaide. Running in Guyana, India will play their semi-final in Guyana. Doesn't matter whether they top the group or second.
Yeah.
India play their semi-final in Guyana, which means it is the slowest pitch of them all. 130 odd you used to see, being defended in the past. Guyana has seen that.
Yeah.
Keeping that in mind, and also just to add, I was talking about the Indian team earlier, against why I picked them to make the semis. They'll be playing their games in the day games for India. That might help India's batting style as well, their spinners.
Yes.
So based on that, I picked India in the semis, and now India playing in Guyana versus
Which will be a day-nighter.
England, I think may be better suited for the Indian team rather than England. So it's Australia, India, repeat of the 50-over World Cup.
It
I see in
completes
the
the set. WTC final was these two teams. The World Cup final was these two teams.
Under 19 World Cup.
And now it's a hat-trick that Australia will be aiming for.
Under 19 World Cup also. A good point. Yeah.
Quadruple. Although the England versus India game is a day-nighter. The first day-nighter game.
But we need to first come to a consensus on this final only, then we can go
Yeah,
go
you
ahead.
have to. That's not the final list. That's just my prediction.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Shivam, that is Nikhil's prediction. Yeah.
Okay.
I am going with West Indies and England.
Okay.
Repeat of 2016. for
This
me.
is like the two other teams.
Just write it below it.
Yeah. West Indies versus England for me.
Okay. Wait a second. Let that list be updated.
Yeah.
Please note down his as well.
Yeah. It is West Indies versus England. Repeat of 2016.
2016. Do you remember something as far as the combox is concerned from that match?
Remember the name. Indeed. But this time who will be the remember the name?
There
Nicholas
are
Puran.
So many remember the name creatures. in
Harshad,
that
for
side.
you.
Your choice.
Since I didn't go with India to begin with in the top four, England then of course become the other finalist for me. From the first semi-final, I see Australia getting the better of the West Indies.
Okay, so like Harshit, I am also expecting a repeat of the 2010 T20 World Cup final.
Again in the West Indies.
Again in
in
the
the
West
West Indies.
Oh my God.
Yes, it's going to be England versus Australia. I'm saying, Pawan.
England versus Australia. So two. And one each, one different. Nikhil's got one different. I got one different.
So then it is England Australia because England gets 3 votes then.
Yeah. Oh. England versus Australia. Repeat of 2010. So you got a 2023 ODI final repeat. You got a 2016 World Cup final repeat. You got a 2010 World Cup repeat on 2 occasions.
Yeah.
Well done.
Which means that if we go by our predictions, they
So
might
you're-
not be a new champion.
there might not be a new champ. And you'll have one 3-time winner. Guaranteed then. Yeah, West Indies, England, both 2-time winners.
No, but not Australia now. Australia could be 2-time. then.
Australia could be 2-time. Yeah, that's why. I
So
thought
either it's a record
Australia reached the
equaling
final in
to
2010.
become the
Record
third team
yeah.
Yeah.
to have a second title.
Okay.
Or
Okay, so who's the winner then? I mean, before Nikhil joins.
See, no team has been able to successfully defend their title so far in the T20 World Cup.
True.
But I think the balanced attack, not just in terms of one department, but across departments that England have, I think England will successfully defend their title and become the first team to do so in the history of T20 World Cup.
Okay. What about you, Harshit?
I think on the contrary, I believe that thing remains, that jinx remains for the defending champions, and Australia, for the wonderful time that they've had over the last 18 months or so, I think it continues for another month, and they complete the set.
They complete the set. Okay. See, if it's an England-Australia final, I definitely can't back in England, because it's always Australia for me, because I don't think that England, okay, they are worthy winners in 22, worthy winners in 2010, but Australia will want that revenge for 2010 for denying them to complete the set earlier. Plus, on top of that, England, Australia, whatever, it's the Ashes or all those kind of things, have always supported the Aussies. So that's why it's Australia even for me. And boy, oh boy, then they have completed not just the Grand Slam, but they have completed even the calendar slam, if you have to look at it.
Yeah.
From the WTC in June till the ODI World Cup, till the T20 World Cup, and also the Under-19 World Cup. If you look at it, the entire set has been complete.
Yeah.
And it has parallels to 2016 West Indies, if you look at it. Women's World Cup won, Under-19 World Cup won, T20 World Cup won, all in the space of 1-2 months. That was how dominant that West Indies team were. This Australian team are much more rounded.
It's going to be a very close final, according to me, if both of these teams, I think, face off. But one of the major reasons why I predicted England to, lift their title and obviously successfully defend it, I think it's because they'll probably have extra motivation to do so after what happened in the 2023 World Cup. See, nobody expected England to perform this bad in the previous 50 over World Cup, and I think that usually happens, that when you go through a phase where you haven't really lived up to the expectations, sometimes that makes you more hungrier.
Yeah, it does. It does. So, but again, if you look at the last,
it's interesting that we were all just looking at the Australia squad some time back when we were upstairs. And all, just trying to see how to have their 11. By the way, we will be doing that video soon enough, and probably tomorrow morning would be the time that you'll see that video.
Yeah,
The Australia. It's interesting how we failed to come to consensus with regards to Australia, because that's their strength.
That's the strength. Problem of plenty for them.
Problem of plenty, and with a couple of these guys, they may not be bilateral kings, or they may not be slayers when it comes to the T20 leagues and all. But with Australians, that they always step up when it comes to big tournaments. They found an unlikely winner in Matthew Wade a couple of years back.
2021, yes.
Yes, and they just have these champion players in them. So you can just never rule them out. And as a unit, some of these guys, they're coming at the back. For India, my worry is, and why I don't have India in the top 4 also is, I see some gaping holes, and I don't quite see, and the fact that individuals as well. India has been about individual performances here and there, but as a unit, you sort of collectively fail. You look at 21, you look at 22. Collective failures. You can't put it down to one individual who slowed down or whatever, etc., one bad spell. It's been collective failure. This time around, I don't get that confidence, because many of the Indian players didn't have an ideal IPL, that doesn't give me the confidence. And you're looking for something new in terms of an opening pair. You don't know, and there's all sorts of suggestions being made right now. So there's a lot of uncertainty. You're relying too heavily. What if you, by the way, going by the assumption that the Jasprit Bumrah will continue to dominate the way that he has been? What if Jasprit Bumrah has an off game or two?
Well, what happened?
Nikhil sir wants a debate with 3 of you. because he is not happy to India.
Huh?
Wait for 3 minutes.
He is not happy with the final prediction that we made. Okay.
Oh.
Nikhil has
He's
a
gonna join
message for
back.
us. Yes, he messages that he's joining soon, and he's not quite pleased with what we've gone with in terms of our selections for the final. We'll hear his thoughts as well. Meanwhile, we can take a couple of your comments till the time that Nikhil joins us. We've already made our point as to why we see certain teams be there and certain not be there. Anders is of the opinion, and here's a comment for Siddharth. He says that New Zealand won't even qualify for the Super 8 this time.
See, it is a tricky group. I am not stating that it is a very easy group that New Zealand will sail through. But again, New Zealand in major ICC events do manage to surprise you. And
Yeah, India have not beaten them.
India are the only team. And for India's sake, okay, if Afghanistan beat them, then India will face Afghanistan in Barbados.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one major obstacle that's gone out of your way. Okay. Now the other thing that should happen is Netherlands dump Sri Lanka out. Because Sri Lanka are the other team that India have never beaten in a T20 World Cup. So India face Netherlands, Afghanistan and Australia in the Super 8s. Sail through into the finals. Let's see. A 11-year jinx ends at this point in time. Although see, prediction-wise in this last 1 year, I think it was in the WTC where most of us were very, very optimistic that Australia were going to win. I think India didn't start as the favourites in the WTC.
Perhaps, yeah.
Although
Also after that toss, you knew that you'd made a blunder.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yep. So that is why. In the World Cup, we all picked India as the overwhelming favourites, but you knew what happened in
Bad comments.
2023. Genius, indeed.
But I think, the margin for error in this kind of a format of the T20 World Cup is very less. Let's just go back to the 2022 World Cup for a minute. That Australia lost just one game in their group stage and they were knocked out. That's when, I remember when they were chasing around 200 odd against New Zealand and they were around 30 odd for 40 odd for 5. The only thought that was going in my mind was Australia should not go for the win from here. They should basically think about their net run rate. That even if you fall short, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Getting out for 100 while chasing 200 is bad, but if you go on to score around 160 or 170 odd for 9 after 20 overs and lose by 20-30 runs, I think that's still good because that still keeps you in contention.
Yeah.
And those, I think, couple of rained off matches did not help them. This is where I think the margin for error is very less.
Yeah. So Priyanshu is saying India, Pak, Oz, Ing, WINZ, SA, Sri Lanka. Top 4 are India, West Indies, South Africa / Pak. Winner West Indies. Okay. I just hope Gary Kirsten remains safe and Dravid's WI nightmare ends. Yes, he's got a... Dravid's worst moments, if you look at it, and highest moments have come in the West Indies. Yeah. And I'll do a separate thing on if it's a story, that's for some other. Sidvi, whom will you support in New Zealand versus India? I'll have to support New Zealand. I mean, nice guys, yeah. Come on, why don't I do that?
So what, India bad guys?
Yeah, they are Goliaths in this cricketing world. Obviously, they are. Mayank Madan, past records and stats have no relevance with the current form. Absolutely. I mean, Australia are the team that should know. 2021, they lost 8 out of the 10 T20Is. But what happened in the main one? They won. And they were in a far tougher group. I mean, look at that. Australia, South Africa, England, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Bangladesh. Yet they managed to get through. India had the easiest, yet they didn't qualify. Yeah. And Nikhil too soft and emotional Indian cricket said you picked Pakistan as a winner 2 days ago. Australian wins. But that is how the fickle nature of the T20 thing is. And looking at the structure and format, I don't see Pakistan doing it. I just don't see it now. Now I have to revise my entire estimates on that.
I think we have Nikhil back on.
Oh yes, Nikhil's back on and he's not happy with what? I don't know.
Tell me, what is that dialogue in the film? कि हम ये हो गए तो तुमने क्या हम शरीफ हुए तो तुमने what is that?
He's talking about that
Siddharth would know.
शरीफ क्या हो गए पूरी दुनिया बदमाश
हम शरीफ क्या कुछ
पवन says हम शरीफ क्या हो गए पूरी दुनिया बदमाश हो गई.
और something.
हम शरीफ क्या हो गए पूरी दुनिया बदमाश हो गई.
Pawan says that the dialogue is कि हम शरीफ क्या हो गए पूरी दुनिया बदमाश हो गई.
Exactly. I want to say मैं मेरा लिंक क्या एक्सपायर हो गया, तुम लोगों ने फाइनलिस्ट ही बदल दिए. The finalist that I had picked was Australia versus India, but I see I have been outvoted, so I want to know what was the voting like because I missed it. So after I voted Australia India final, and I gave my reasons of why I thought India will beat England. Was it unanimous amongst three who picked England?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Because I'll give you two reasons. One,
So one by one, I want to know from all three because I gave
yeah.
reasons why I picked India over.
Fair
I want
enough.
to
Fair
know
enough.
why
fair
you-
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Gulati goes first this time.
Okay, so one of the major reasons why I picked England was having a more balanced team in comparison to India. Secondly, I think England are street smart operators, and something that we witnessed in the 2022 T20 World Cup semi-final, that they did have a plan against most of the Indian batters. And that's where I feel that when you go out with a plan, you know that how would you be able to stop a team that is obviously overwhelming favorites for the fans, but then it's just about going about your business and making sure that okay, let's just restrict them and see how things go. With England, I think there has been the inconsistency in the format hasn't been prominent in comparison to India, and that's why they have been able to do very well in the last 2 or 3 T20 World Cups. 2016 final, 2021 semi-final and 2022 champions. No other team has been able to be that consistent also in this format in the T20 World Cup. So going by that logic, I would still say that England are better street smart operators than India.
My reason for not having India in the final, two-pronged. One, I didn't even have India in my top four, so having them in the final would defeat my logic. That's number one. Number two, when you look at two teams man to man and as a unit for that matter as well, I think India are trying to do or copy what England have been doing in terms of T20 cricket. We are trying to follow their template. I think they're already a step or two ahead of India, both with bat and ball, and I don't quite think when you talk about players who can really prop up the Indian campaign with the bat, it's somebody like a Virat because he goes into the tournament as the man in form. With the ball, it's somebody like a Jasprit Bumrah. And what we've seen in the past is even when single-handedly a player or two have taken this Indian team forward, there does come that crucial stage, and it's mostly the semi-final, as we've seen over the last few editions, that it's a collective failure.
Yeah.
And I don't see things changing this year as well. What if Jasprit Bumrah doesn't have the kind of tournament or the kind of run that you saw him have in the IPL prior to that, etc., etc. So for those reasons, I don't see India making the final.
yeah, two reasons for me also. You're starting a day-nighter. Providence is your first day-nighter game that India will be playing in this T20 World Cup. All other games are 8 p.m. Okay. So it's a day game for them in that respect. But adjusting suddenly the knockout game to a day-nighter, that's one. Second, see, India freeze in major knockout events now, and I don't see that changing because in T20 World Cup history, if you look at it from 2007 till 2022,
Yeah.
I'm not including the Super 6 knockouts. That's not a knockout. You've only won 2 knockouts in 17 years. And this team for 2 years played T20s just like that, with no planning, no future, no nothing. You've gone back to 2 old people who thought, okay, just on reputation alone, will win you a T20 World Cup. That's why I don't see them winning it this time around also. Because your vision is fogged totally. Other teams are much ahead of the curve, India are not ahead of the curve.
And sometimes, like just one more point I have to add here, that in case of India in big matches, I think a certain, there's too much pressure on a certain Virat Kohli to just make sure that you get India over the line or you score the most or make sure that India aren't really under pressure. In case of England, they have multiple match winners. In India also have match winners, but in case of England, I think the pressure is very much, equal for all the players. So like if a certain Joss Butler fails, a Salt can step up. If he fails, then you have Jax, then Bairstow. So the point here is that there isn't too much pressure on just one individual to make sure that your team seals the deal or probably gets over the line.
Bairstow also was hitting sixes for fun yesterday. The more I was looking at England, the more I was fearing, to see an outfit perform that well. Yeah. But anyhow, Nikhil, you've heard from us. Any cross questions that you may have for us?
So why I disagree with you guys, why I picked India, all valid reasons that you guys have put. So starting with what Harshit says, you're watching Bairstow hit those sixes, but you got to remember, he's hitting in the confines of pitches and conditions that suit him.
Yeah.
As soon as you move to the West Indies, I do not see England as stronger contender. Yes, I know that the last time a T20 World Cup was played there, I was there in the Caribbean. England played Australia in the final. England won that trophy, their first ever ICC trophy. And maybe that's exactly what you've gone with this time as well, England and Australia. I've been outvoted, but the reason is why I picked India over England. Two things. See, firstly, one thing we are again forgetting, the dew is going to be a major factor in day and night games. So I think toss will become very crucial. In West Indies as well, certain venues get a lot of dew, certain venues don't get dew, but it is just like India. You'll have to wait on the day to really figure out which is the venue that gets you dew and which venue doesn't get you the dew. Now, if you're chasing, doesn't matter if India is chasing against England, whatever, India going has suddenly become the favorite if you're going to get dew in Guyana, where there's a possibility. Secondly, you're playing your semis in Guyana, which is one of the lowest scoring venues ever. I mentioned 130 on occasions has been defended. I think that sort of a scenario suits India much better than it is going to suit an English team. I agree that this is an ICC tournament and the pitches will be much better than the ones you usually get. What happens in the West Indies for other time when you've had low scoring games, the curator oftentimes says if you have not enough time to prepare, on short notices they prepare the pitches and it's not great. ICC tournaments, how ICC are careful, they send their teams in advance and all of them pitches are being made well in advance. So I'm guessing they'll be good, but by the time you reach the semis, pitches are kind of tired. So I think that suits India. Secondly, I take your point about India's approach, which you realize that they've frozen, they've been found wanting. I would have also propagated that, but I have genuinely seen a change in attitude. I'm not saying that that's definitely guarantees a result, but I saw these two previous T20 World Cups up close covering them, and I did see that your approach was a bit ancient. I've seen that approach change. If you're, let's say, Yashasvi and Rohit are opening,
We've seen that change in approach. What in the second and the third T20? I think that's all that we've seen, right?
No. I'm not. I'm even looking at the IPL. See, if a Yashasvi is opening, a Yashasvi will bat the way he bats, like everyone. If a Virat Kohli is opening, Virat Kohli, the opener, now you have seen him from that Afghanistan T20 eyes all through the IPL. He'll be batting one way. If a Rohit Sharma was batting a different way, if he's batting number 3, which is my ideal batting lineup, it may change, I don't know. He will also bat that particular way. And I think with Shivam Dubey in the team, with now so many batters batting that way, and maybe with a Hardik Pandya endorsing what was Hardik Pandya's problem earlier, that upar se nahi hai, to how can we niche be playing like that? But if it starts from like that from the top, we'll also be playing. But provided the conditions are like that, I think it'll be a foolhardy approach that if you're playing in Guyana and it becomes a typical pitch that suits Indian batting style and you're going to be playing with that aggressive approach, that'll be foolish. If your strength is playing percentage cricket and winning, and if Guyana is that ground to play percentage cricket and win, which it has been up until now, then you might as well play that. Stick to your strength, you're better off chances of winning that. Okay. Whereas I said 130 has been defended. I'm not saying that, that exactly how I say things will work out. But just as you have made a valid point and maybe those points come true, I see it slightly differently, and I think that this may be the way it's going, and that's why I picked India, but that's fine, I'm outvoted. So it is England, Australia semi-final that you've picked. So let's get down to the finalists, and I'll have to pick one of them based on the two semis. So let's pick the winner then. You have to pick the winner. So who starts first?
It's Australia for me.
Yeah, we did that too. So I went
So Australia for all three?
No, Gulati feels that England will become the first team to defend the title.
Yeah. Basically, it's going to be a repeat of the 2010 T20 World Cup final.
Okay, so if I vote England, then there's a tie, and then you go to Pavan and Shivam.
Yeah.
If I vote Australia, then it's a unanimous winner.
Yeah.
So I am As I said, if it's an ICC tournament, New Zealand are definitely playing a semi-final. If it's an ICC tournament, there's a good chance or a better chance that Australia are holding the trophy than England. It's not that England haven't, but Australia are. I'd actually put Australia as the winner for my prediction while seeing an Australia-India final. I had seen an Australia-India final and I had gone with Australia as the ultimate winner. You've changed the final to Australia-England doesn't change my winner. So I'm glad that my winner comes in. So I picked Australia.
I know what is it.
Party's out.
I don't know what is it about your prediction that Pawan started to have palpitations. I can tell you.
Who?
Pawan.
Why?
I know what the whole time that you were just talking, he had his mouth literally wide open.
So, November 19th to be joined by June 29th. Is it?
You got to take the 9 away.
You want to take the 9 away. I know. See, but there is a... Look, I mean, India, if they have to... See, you're on a prayer, okay? In the Caribbean, this Indian team is on a prayer.
Yeah.
Let's be very honest about it. We are only getting them this far because of the nature of the groups that they are in. Sri Lanka is not looking that strong. New Zealand
Can we
is...
see the winner table?
Winner table.
Sports Today's winner.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Siddharth.
Yeah, so I am saying that this Indian team is on a prayer, okay? How much ever you may want to hark back on Melbourne, Mohali and all those kind of things. The bottom line is you've never won an ICC T20 World Cup ever since the IPL came into existence, okay? That was eras and eons ago. Now when the match is about to begin at Nassau County, the India versus Bangladesh game, you are just on your prayer is only intensifying with each and every day as it continues.
Yeah.
So that's why, I mean...
By the way, what intensifies that? Because the other day I was seeing some visuals of there being prayers performed in different parts of the country so that the heat wave weakens. So more of that or more for the Indian team?
I think it's for the heat.
Yeah.
You needed more for the heat.
Needed more for the heat. And I'm only glad that better since prevailed, the air conditioner was not switched off. Because I have to pay the price for a team that is blessed with weak immune systems.
Nikhil, you're hearing that, right?
Yeah, he did.
Doesn't matter. He has to be in office. He is
heading to the US. What more can you ask? Yeah, I have to be because it's terrible outside. That's why.
By the way, we see visuals, live visuals coming from the horse broadcaster all the way from New York. You see the heavy roller as well. The same pitch is being rolled down for the India-Pakistan match that will be used.
So why don't you guys end this stream and then, because the toss might just be happening and I'm sure there are plenty of people who want to know updates from you guys. Before we wind up, here's a quick summation of what we did on the dugout today. We sat together to pick the teams. And this is what we have picked in terms of our prediction on Sports Today. So you have got your top 8 teams. You can see on your screens that we went by based on very democratically elected voting process. We picked these teams. Semi-finalists Australia, West Indies, England, India. And finalist was England, Australia. Winner is Australia. Those are our prediction based on, as I said, a very democratic process that had some voting. So we'll obviously sit back on the 29th, 30th and then revisit this.
Yep.
For the moment, do let us know in the comment section. Give us a like if you enjoyed our content. Do let us know in the comment section as to who your top 4 teams are, who your winner prediction is. And maybe when we revisit it a month later, we'll probably give a shout out to somebody who got it bang on in the comment section. That is something that we can do.
Yep.
Also, in 2 months back to back, we'll get to see how accurate we are with predictions, because I remember all 3 out of the 4 of us, I remember, only got one in the IPL predictions that we did. Had only one of the 4 semi-finalists eventually be there.
Yes.
So let's see if we do any better this time around.
Yep. So we'll be back shortly for the India-Bangladesh toss update. So join us.
Yes. There's a heavy roller that we saw over there on the pitch, but we'll tell you more about the pitch, what it is like to be in New York at the moment, what are the conditions like. There was some rain yesterday we saw in New York. All of that as we build up to India's...
Next 1 minute, we'll be live with you. So subscribe to Sports Today, folks. Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you so much. for joining us, and Nikhil will be there even for India Bangladesh also. So
Yeah, let's stick along. We'll be back. Bye bye.
bye bye.